Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however, wherever, whenever you're listening. This is the Root for Wisconsin show, episode 130, coming at you from the Riverwood Gallery studio in De Pere, Wisconsin. I'm host producer Eric Fisher, Big E, all by myself this week. Sean out with some sickness. Sean a little busy with some school stuff, so it's just me. So a little bit untraditional episode we've got tonight. In a few moments, you're going to hear an interview we just did with pro wrestler, multiple time guest on the Root for Wisconsin show content with the TikTok page, and we did a solo interview with him. That was TW3 pro wrestler, also seen in the Netflix show The Wrestlers. So be sure to check that out. We'll have that here in just a few moments. A couple pieces of housekeeping I do want to talk about before we get into the interview with TW3. First and foremost, always got to thank our friends. Talking about TW3, we're talking RPW, Raging Pro Wrestling, based out of Green Bay, all over Northeast Wisconsin, coming up in the next month. Less than a month, actually. First and foremost, got to say, November 3rd, we've got RPW Homecoming 1 in Wapaka. That is Friday, November 3rd at the Wapaka Expo Center. Tickets are available, but going fast. The front row sold out for Section A. 5 tickets remaining in Section B, C, only 4 in Section D, and numerous end aisle seats already sold out as well. The following night, RPW Destiny 3, that is in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Guess what? That one, front row, all sold out. Second row, going quickly. Third row, also going quickly. That one at the Big Apple in Manitowoc the following night. So be sure to check that out. That one with a star-studded triple threat match is your main event. Diamante, Tessa Blanchard, and Kiera Hogan. 2 of those from AEW, also featuring former Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard. So you're not going to want to miss that. Tickets are available both at the venues, at rpwprowrestling.com, and at Look Sharp in the Fox River Mall. Also got to shout out our friends over at RaysEnergyRepsports.com. Go Root4. ROOT number 4 gets you 15% off of any order. And also, just a quick shout out to our titles or our studio sponsor, that being the Riverwood Gallery Studio. And that is based out of Gillett, Wisconsin, with Mitch and Julie Meanier. Real quick shout out, if you want to get Packers autographed memorabilia, custom jerseys, whether it be Packers or other NFL teams, be sure to reach out to Mitch and Julie. They are available online with an email at Mitch, M-I-T-C-H, at riverwoodgallery.com, or by phone 920-373-4113. So be sure to check them out and say hi. Tell them Eric sent you. Not sure that 100% sure if they'll do a discount, but you tell them Eric and the Root for Wisconsin show sent you. Maybe they'll work with you. I don't know. With that in mind, a couple other pieces of business before we get into the interview. Got to update our pick standings. We've got Sean taking the lead this last week in the weekly pick segment. He went 11-3 this last week. He takes the lead at 45-33 on the season. I'm remaining in second. I got 44-34 after a 7-7 week for myself. Shauna with a big bounce back. She went 10-4 this last week, but she's in third place at 42-36. Also got to update our fantasy football standings for our podcast league on ESPN. After week 5, it was Justin Dahl, Team Dahl, getting his first win on the season, upsetting the reigning champion, myself, Commish Fish, 117-95.2. Tyson continues his undefeated reign of terror over the league. He's a 145.86 to 112.02 winner over Sean. Ramsey back in the win column. He beats the Lambo Chef 125.68 to 92.76. Team Tornator advances to 4-1 of the season. He beats Jordan Fifield 93.54 to 75.36. Mark, my little brother, chubbed up, takes another loss to X. Gonna give it to you. He loses 108.72 to 108.38. And Secretary Shauna, the comeback moment of the season, she wins 147.44 to over Jordan Fields 143.74 in that game. Worth mentioning, last week on the show, Shauna had been talking about trading Jamar Chase No more, she says. Absolutely not. 52.2 points for Jamar Chase this last week. 15 catches, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase back to untouchable for Secretary Shauna, especially now that Justin Jefferson is out with injury for the next couple of weeks as well. So Shauna saying no longer is Jamar Chase available. She gets another win this week, and she advances to 4-1 as well. If the season ended today, our playoff bracket would be Tyson at the 1 seed, Sean at the 2 seed. At the 3, Team Tornator taking on Team 6, Christian Mingle. That's Sean. And the 4 and 5, we got Only Ram 5 and X going give it to you, David Muller. I'm not in the playoffs currently, and that needs to change. I made a trade today. Very excited about that possibility. So can't wait to see what goes on with that. Week 6 coming up. We will have our picks on paper this week. We are not obviously going to be recording them because they're not here. So that is our pick segment. And just real quick, got to talk about the Packers, man. What a disappointing loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't even have words. I know we'll talk about it more next week when Sean rejoins us and Shauna rejoins us and whoever else wants to come on. If Ramsey wants to come or Justin wants to come, we'll talk more about that next week. But very disappointing early part of the season here. Packers go to 2-3 with the loss against the Raiders on a 17-13 loss. We'll have that and much, much more next week when Sean's able to rejoin us and kind of do an early season report card for the guys and the team as a whole going into the second half of their season. Second half, I guess, even though it's a longer season, they've got 12 more games to play. But regardless, with the bye this week, so we're taking it a little easy here on our side. We've got TW3 featured in the Netflix show Wrestlers, RPW wrestler, OVW wrestler. Here's the interview. Joining us now, he's been on the show before. He's been featured on our social media channels a couple times. Joining us, wrestler, Netflix star, TW3. TW3, how you doing, man?
What's going on, Root? How we doing tonight?
Doing great. First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Not sure if I'm posting the video yet or not, but for those of you, if I don't, you are live on location at the famous Davis Arena.
Yeah, I am, man. We have TV review tonight, so I'm here. We just got into town a little bit ago. Just got a nice little pump in the gym, and now I'm ready to go on the podcast.
All right, awesome. Again, glad to have you here. So first and foremost, the main thing we're talking about here tonight, and we've got a jam-packed, lots to get through, so we're gonna get right into it. The Netflix show Wrestlers takes place shadowing OVW and some of the rising stars of wrestling. Now, first, I wanted to start off with, I believe, just confirming this took place. This was not this last summer, but the summer, what was it, 2022?
Yeah, summer 2022.
And how long have you been wrestling for with OVW?
OVW would be 2 years. Will be March for me. Will be 2 years.
So you were part of this from the day one of recording.
Yeah, pretty much. I was here when everything was going down as far as like how this was gonna go, how the tour was gonna go, when assignments were handed out. So yeah, I was here. That's actually in the first episode that you see there. That's what that meeting was about. Was basically how things were gonna go. So yeah, day one, I was there.
All right, so we're starting with the Netflix series and kind of going through that a little bit here in your experience. So the Netflix series follows a number of different wrestlers and kind of the whole scene behind the indie wrestling scene and OVW as a whole, going from the historic rise during the early 2000s with guys like Batista, John Cena, and numerous others, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. So just kind of starting with this TW3, what does it mean to you to get to be in that same building, that same brand that some of these now legendary world champion wrestlers have been coming through as well?
Man, it means everything. Because this is a place, like you said, that like a lot of those greats, Orton, Batista, Cena, you know, John Morrison, uh, Doug Basham, you know what I mean? I mean, the list goes on and on. And like it's when they say it's the historic Davis Arena, that's what it is. If you've never been in this building, the second that you walk into this building, you feel the history. Like the first time I ever stepped foot in Davis, I got chills because you see all the pictures and of all the past people before you, and then you keep walking through your past concessions, and then you see the ring, and that ring is in the same place it's been. This arena has never changed, man, and it means a lot to be able to be here. It means a lot to be able to be given this opportunity. Um, I was in the right place, right time, let's just say, and my body was in the right frame, and my mind was in the right frame of mind for me to be here. And I started at the bottom, and I'm climbing this card week by week. So it means everything, man, to be a part of OVW. It was great to even be featured just a little bit in the Netflix series. Um, I love Kentucky. I love it so much that this might be my new home really soon.
Oh
So,
wow.
um, yeah, man. OVW has treated me well. It means everything to be here. And for any aspiring wrestler uh, looking for, an opportunity, somebody looking to do something historic, come train here. Come train here, go through the system here, and see what you can make of it. Because I'm telling you right now, this is the place to be. People probably were sleeping on OVW before the Netflix series, and I know a lot of people slept on a lot of things I was doing down here, and they had a lot to say. But they're not saying that now. They're not. They're saying a lot more of congratulations and you deserve it and keep going and push for the moon and things like that. And that's what this place is about, because no matter what you thought of OVW before, now you're seeing it in the series, and you're seeing that it's just as historic and it's just as prestigious as it always was. So
Yeah, and kind of going, one thing I want to touch on, just going through as you have been working, and you were one of those superstars that took my attention from the first RPW match that I saw, let alone anything OVW. But as you mentioned, you have been climbing that card, and uh, last week or 2 weeks ago, you lead the show off, taking on Cal Hero. Last week, you get the TikTok star, the veteran Jack Vaughn, and tomorrow night, or I guess tonight as this episode releases, EC3.
yeah, man. I mean, if you like, even before Cal, there was a main event match with me and Will Austin. A lot of people may not know who Will Austin is, but don't sleep on him, because Will Austin is one of those guys that you're gonna hear a lot about real soon too, and he's already out there all over the indie scene. And we had a main event, like two guys on the undercard, not really doing much, you know, and they throw us in a main event for the match. You know what I mean? It wasn't the main event of TV because they had the promo, but it was the main event wrestling match of the night, and we killed it. We knocked it out of the park. And yeah, then there was Cal and myself, and then Jack. And if you had told me 5 years ago, and I only say five, you told me 5 years ago I'd be on TV where millions of people could view me on Fight TV and a sold out Davis Arena wrestling EC3, I tell you, you're crazy. But that's what's happening tomorrow night. And I believe, just like everybody's been telling me, I deserve all this. I think I've earned it. I think I've worked my way through where I need to work to get these opportunities. And every opportunity they keep throwing at me, I'm going to knock it out of the damn park. So,
I'd have to agree with that sentiment as well. Like I said, I've known you for about a year and a half now, and absolutely working your ass off and deserving these opportunities. So, with that in mind, so just first touching on how can people watch OVW if they can't get to the Davis Arena? Because since the Netflix show has come around, it has been sold out nights in advance, weeks in advance. How can people still participate in that Davis Arena feel?
Fight TV. Search Fight TV or go to the Fight TV app. Download it on your phone. Download it on your smart TV. Download it on any smart device you have, and then from there, search OVW. And you can watch all past episodes for free, and then live TV. We're Eastern Standard Time here, so it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but Central Standard it's 6 o'clock for everybody back home in Wisconsin. You can watch it every Thursday night starting at 6. There's 2 hours live. And we're still one of the only products out there that still does live TV other than AEW and WWE. So what you see is what you get. Other than that, if you miss it on Fight, it does get released on YouTube as well. I want to say like a few days later, and then the pay-per-views as well. Fight TV. Um, you can use my code. I think it's TW3 still for Fight TV and get a discount on that. But anytime you have a pay-per-view coming up, if you can't get to Davis and it's sold out, which it has been for the last 4 weeks, Fight TV is where you can see us.
All right. So going back to the Netflix documentary, a couple things I wanted to touch on here, and kind of going through without spoiling the documentary because at first it's incredible. Netflix series, I binged it and I was done in a day because it was must watch. First and foremost, it starts off with kind of pointing to that struggle, like you said, of people kind of sleeping on OVW, the brand, and not really realizing what it is. So, what would TW3 say that OVW is here in 2023?
OVW is still that old school wrestling that you loved in the past with new school stars. That's what I would say it is. Um, you're still getting the same mindset of what you would have gotten back then. You're still getting the developmental frame, but beyond that, because we've got guys who are beyond developmental that have stepped back into this, light with EC3, for instance, Jesse Goddard, Mahalabali Shera. You know what I mean? Like you got guys like that who've already been through the systems, and they're here and they're helping develop a lot of us being here. So I would say OVW is still old school wrestling, like people would like, but it's got that new school frame of mind as far as your stars.
So we have Al Snow is kind of the creative head. A lot of WWE folks will remember him or fans will remember him from his time, both with the head and again the whole dog thing. What has it been like working under Al Snow?
Working under Al has been great. Um, Al is probably the greatest teacher I've ever had in wrestling, and that's no offense to any other teachers I've had. But just because Al has that knowledge and that experience and the upper level of what we do, and when you can just sit and listen to Al, it doesn't even take long. You sit and listen to Al for 10 minutes and you learn something. I learn something every week that I'm on TV. I learn something every week that I'm back down here for TV review. Talking about what could have been and what should have been, or what we did that was good, or what we should work and focus on. And I think that's where I'm growing too, because every time I'm given a task, I go ahead and I correct that and I fix the problem. And then not only do I fix it, but I go above and beyond to do that as well. And working under Al is probably one of the greatest experiences of my life, to be
How,
honest with you.
how has TW3 the wrestler changed since starting with Al about 2 years ago?
TW3 the wrestler has changed um, in a lot of ways, and one of those ways that's really important is TW3 the wrestler has developed more of his character. And when I say character, I mean I know exactly who TW3 is. I've always known who he was, but now I really know who he is, and within inside me, and it's just me, Tommy, turned up to 1,000, and knowing certain things like less is more. I don't have to do all those fancy moves that I was doing on the indies all the time, because my character sells itself. This is TV. This is what we do, and all I got to do is resonate with the fans and connect with them emotionally, which I've been able to do. And that's something that I did it before, but I really didn't master that skill, or I hadn't started mastering it until I got to OVW. And now I feel like that's something that I can go out there and I can do, and it just comes natural. Before I felt like I was pulling and pulling and pulling, and now it's just there. They feel me, I feel them, and we're here together. So TW3 the wrestlers developed in that form, because now I know how to really resonate with my audience and really just connect with them on a different, deeper level in the ring.
Now, focusing on TW3 the person, because one thing that the docu series on Netflix does a very good job of, in my opinion, is kind of showing the triumphs, the tribulations of the personal life of a wrestler, and how I think at one point it says you got to be a little messed up to be a wrestler. So how has TW3 the person changed? I guess since just as a whole with the wrestling journey, but especially since joining OVW.
My mindset is different on my personal level. I look at myself now and this might sound a little cocky, but it's not meant to be. It's more of a confident thing. I look at myself more as a person above a lot of others now, because I am down here, because I am learning from the best. And I carry myself in a different way. I don't do a lot of the things I used to do outside of the ring, as far as like being out and doing like the partying and things like that. I carry myself more like a star, because that's what they're teaching us down here, is to be stars. And like the way that I the way that I live my life daily, I definitely concentrate more on my body, on my eating, on my mental health, on my daily habits. Um, I look at things a lot differently, in a sense of, I used to think that if I didn't have wrestling, I would have nothing else. But now I know that if I didn't have wrestling, I'd be okay, because I've been able to have this journey. And I mean, even TW3, the person, I don't even, this is all I do now. All I do is travel Wednesday through Sunday and wrestle. And that's something that I've always wanted to be able to accomplish. And there's not a lot of us out there that are going to ever be able to say they can do that. I mean, let's shoot straight here. A lot of people have regular jobs. A lot of people have to go and do other things, and then they get to do and try and live their dream on weekends. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm getting to do this, and I feel as I continue to grow, it's just going to go up for me. And mentally, mentally, I feel like I'm a better person than I was, because uh, Al has taught us to be. Uh, how do I say it? Al has taught us to be good individuals all the time, everywhere. You know what I mean? Um, I was trained by Shane Hills, being one of my trainers, and everybody knows that Shane always taught us, to leave wrestling better than you found it, but also leave his camp a better person. And Al continues that every week with what his teachings are. And more so, Al has definitely taught me to be a better person and to look at things a lot differently in personal life. So.
That's awesome to hear. Another person featured very heavily in the Netflix series is someone more of my world, is Matt Jones. And the series points and paints a very kind of tense picture of Matt from the beginning of his time kind of taking over as the majority owner, the principal owner. So first of all, I do want to ask, what is it like working with Matt Jones, who kind of comes more from that traditional sports background?
So when Matt's around, I have very little interaction with him. I mean, I interact with Matt, and being around and in the meetings and things like that. I mean, those are what they're supposed to be. He's an owner, right? He's got the money. He's the one doing things. Um, I will say this: the picture that's painted of Matt is a picture that is more true than what people think it is, because that really is what it's like working for him. But also, I will say that Matt's a misunderstood individual, because he came into this business not knowing what he thought he knew. And and that's one of those things that you can kind of see throughout, the series. He thought he knew what he was getting into, and he thought he knew wrestling, but he really didn't. And he needed and needs Al as just as much as he, thought he could take care of things himself. So working for Matt, I haven't had any issues. What you see on Netflix is what you get, though. That's really who Matt is, and that's really who Al is. And yeah, do they butt heads? Yeah, absolutely they do. But again, Matt's really misunderstood, and I think he misunderstood what he was stepping into. But I can tell you this, as of late, and things that you haven't seen, I think he gets it now, and I think he understands, and he has a different respect for what we do and what Al does, and things, let's just say, are changing a little bit around here. So.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question is how was that tension that is felt even by, like I said, a non-wrestler like myself and the other people viewing the Netflix series, was that tension as high as it seemed in the Netflix series?
Yes, absolutely. Everything you saw, man, is exactly how it was. People who said what they said meant exactly what they said about Matt. I when I first met man, I thought he was a dick. I won't lie. I'll shoot straight. I did. Because he like barely acknowledged me and I understood that I was just a guy coming in and he didn't know exactly who I was yet. But at the same time, like we're in this business and one of the things we're taught is we speak to everybody, we greet everybody, and we go ahead and we make sure that, everybody's welcome. And I didn't feel welcome from his eyes. Don't get me wrong, I felt welcome here from the OVW family, but for him, I didn't. And it took a while for me to even want to go back up and say anything to him. I avoided him a lot when I first came. Now I make sure I just go to him and say hi anyway, and it's gonna be whether he likes to say hi or not. You know what I mean? Like I said, things have changed, and he's a little bit more open now, and I can see a little bit more of a personality in him coming out. And I think that the more we're around him, and the more he's around us, and the more that he starts to understand this business as a whole, he'll become a better individual when it comes to the wrestling part of it. I'm not saying he's a bad guy in real life, but what you see on Netflix is what you get. That's really who he came in trying to be, and he kind of got shut down. Al let him know, you know what I mean? Like, this is how it goes. This is real wrestling. This is what it really is. It's not what you think it is.
So kind of going with that and in continuing with the Netflix series, as the series goes on, it really kind of builds up to that pay-per-view. And I'm not going to spoil it, but pretty happy ending, all things considered. But that was last summer. So since then, how has OVW been changing us? I know we talked earlier in the interview here about the full houses since the series has come out, but what has that continuation been from that build up of the summer tour of the pay-per-view and going forward from there?
I mean, it just continues to build. Like you said before, sold out houses every week at Davis. That's not a thing that happened for a while. You know what I mean? Like, especially for TV, pay-per-views were always pretty good, but the houses are building, the following is building. I wake up every day with at least 15 to 20 new followers on all my social medias, and I don't know where these people come from, but they're from all over the world. And that tells us that it wasn't just the United States, obviously, that was watching us. So OVW is just going to keep growing and continuing to grow, and we're going to go on tour again soon here. And when that happens, who knows? You know what I mean? Um, we're not sure still about next series if there's going to be a season two. That's undisclosed to us right now, but we're hoping, we're praying, we're wishing, because this has definitely put all of us on a different playing field. And it's something that a lot of people aren't going to be able to get to do, like I said before. So, but the company's growing, man. We got a lot of people reaching out for sponsorships, wanting to bring us in. Like, it's great. You know what I mean? OVW's flowing. It's going up. It isn't going down, that's for sure. It just keeps climbing. So it's
Yeah.
been great.
One other thing I kind of wanted to point on before we kind of move on here, and I know time is short, but uh, one thing that they kind of point out in the documentary series is talking about how OVW's opened some doors. And I know when we had first talked, the first time we interviewed you was back in July of 2022. So you were just kind of starting the OVW window. And I know that you had mentioned wanting to be able to do this as your main job. So first of all, congratulations. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad that that's
Thank you.
really come to fruition in the last year. But uh, one of those things that we had talked about at that time was kind of getting some of those shots on AEW, and we kind of see how that window opened, or the quote unquote forbidden door opened, with the OVW world. And I know that you've gotten a couple shots with AEW, or you've gotten some promo work with them. So, what has that been like to be able to be traveling, like you said, Wednesday through Sunday and just wrestling?
It's been great, man. These letters for a while probably didn't mean much to OVW, but they do again. And it was even before the series came out. People heard about the series, and it's, hey, let's book this person. Let's book this person. It's all in the OVW name. We all stand behind it because we're a family here. And it's been great because I've gotten a lot more opportunities in places that I had reached out to before that probably didn't want to do anything with me because they didn't really know who I was. But that magic, door open, OVW especially, you know what I mean? Like, people have taken to not just myself, but all of us. We're all getting to travel. We're all getting to do bigger and better things. I mean, look at Turbo and Truth. They're on Ring of Honor, AEW, you know what I mean? We already knew, Layla was already headed her that way already during the series. You know what I mean? Uh, Look at the guys we're getting to work with, like EC3. Like, this guy is the NWA World Champion. You know what I mean? Like, again, if you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd ever have a match with EC3, Probably tell you no, probably not, because I'm not, I wasn't in that playing field. I wasn't there. But I am there, and I get to do that tomorrow night. And one of those biggest things, you know, when it comes to what is what has the letters in Netflix done for us? It's opened up every single freaking door you can think of. And there's guys that are going to be getting opportunities other places that probably would have never gotten it because of it. So um, it's opened up millions and millions of doors. Let's just say that. I know that next year, because of this, I'm traveling out overseas. I've been waiting to do it. I'm going overseas next year, and it's because of OVW. So
All right, a couple of rapid fire questions here. I know you gotta get going. I don't want you to get in trouble for TV tonight, but
you're good.
looking at one more question about the series. Do want to ask is, we see a lot. We see cash flow.
Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna do a quick cameo. Here's a guy you saw on the Netflix series a lot. This is Joe Mack. Joe Mack, say what's up to the world.
Hey,
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
pretty
It's
good.
Eric from Roofer, Wisconsin.
Cool.
I'll be
What are you doing? A podcast?
Yeah, podcast, cool, bro. Sorry, I just wanted to
Awesome.
speak
Thank
to Joe
you.
real quick.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just gonna say, that's actually a perfect segue, a perfect moment for that to happen. Who do you spend a lot of your time with that, from people in the series that maybe either got seen on TV or have not been seen on TV? Who is TW3 hanging out with backstage and just hanging out around Louisville?
Usually about, Cal Hero, Tony Khan, Eric Darkstorm, Joe Mack. I hang. TW3 is versatile, bro. I hang with a lot of people. Isaiah, you know what I mean? Jared Kripke, De Niro. Everybody knows De Niro's my roommate. You know what I mean? So Jay De Niro, who's also gotten a heck of a lot of opportunities because of what he's done down here. Maximo Suave, um, Manny Domingo, it's one of my boys. Star Rider, Will Austin. Like, like a lot of us Rush guys stick together, man. So that's definitely who I'm kicking it with a lot down here and outside of this, and we just learn from each other. So.
All right, a couple of things to go through. So just first, looking ahead here the next month, what does TW3 got on the schedule? First of all, I just want to congratulate you. You won a title over the weekend, correct?
Yeah, I just became the One Fall Entertainment heavyweight champion after 2 years of chasing that. So,
All right.
yeah, thank you.
So what's the next month look like, kind of culminating? I know we've got 2 RPW shows at the first weekend in November. So what's the next month look like for TW3?
Next month, I've got the 2 RVW shows. I've got a bunch of house shows down here, pay-per-view. I've got my debut at Squared Circle Megastars. Uh, Man, I'm all over the place in November. Like, I literally have so much going on. I literally have to open up my calendar book to tell you. But people who are interested, check out my Facebook, check out my Instagram. All my dates are up there usually. I've gotten more into doing a lot more social media now that this is all I do, so I have more time. But you can check out my journey, not only just for wrestling, but check out my health journey as far as building my body and getting it to where I want it to get, because it's developing very fast, and I'm doing, I'm really proud of what I've done in the last few years here. So, but yeah, I got a lot going on, man. It's so much I can't even name it all, but definitely, all the stuff down here, and for Rich up there, those 2 shows for RPW and Squirrel Circle Megastars. If you guys haven't heard of them, check them out. The guys that run that are great, and they have some great talent too. So.
All right. Speaking of the social medias, how can people follow along with you?
So Instagram is the_official_ TW3. And then Facebook and TikTok are both at Thomas Walton with 3 eyes for 3. And then TikTok's the same, or no, Twitter's the same thing. I don't know who still uses Twitter. I do, X or whatever it's called. I still use it because I get tagged and stuff. But pretty much, yeah. Those are the ways to definitely see me. Oh, hold on. We're going to do another cameo here if you want to ask another question quick. I got another cameo. This is somebody everybody's going to love to see. So you should definitely use this video. I know it's a little dark, but
I'm definitely. This is awesome.
Hey, man. Come here. Let me cameo you real quick.
Oh, cameo?
Yeah, well, on my podcast.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, y'all?
Fanny Pack Kid, Cal Hero.
Check
I
this
do,
out.
Cal.
I'm rocking. here at
Love to hear-
OVW right now for some film review.
Love to hear that. This is the Wisconsin show, Wisconsin podcast.
Heck yeah.
No, you're a Wisconsin boy too, correct?
Oh, yes, I am.
All right, we'll have to get you on sometime.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right, cool. Real quick, TW3, before you head inside, I gotta ask. I wouldn't be talking Wisconsin sports without asking this. How about them Packers, man? What a rough couple weeks here.
Bro, we'll get it together. It's his first season by himself. Love will get it together. We will get it together, and that's really all I want to say about it. Because we're still better than the Bears.
That's true. All
We're
right.
still better than the Bears.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Luckily, you're wrestling on Thursday, so you got to miss the debacle of the Packers-Lions beatdowns.
Yeah, I didn't
Got
watch
lucky on
that at
that
all. I didn't watch that at all. We got out of TV and it was still on, and I don't want to watch this. I did other things. I didn't want to do it.
All right, we'll wrap up here. TW3, thank you so much for your time, and can't wait to see you in November at the RPW shows. And again, for the folks, how can they follow along and check you out as you go along on Fight TV and OVW and your journey in wrestling?
Again, Fight TV, guys, download that app. Search OVW. You can watch all the shows. It's live on 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday. There's 2 hours live, and then Eastern Standard Time starts at 7. Again, my Instagram is at the underscore the underscore official underscore TW3, and then Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok are all at Thomas Walton 3 with 3 eyes.
All right, any parting thoughts you got for us before you head inside?
Nah, man, I appreciate you guys having me again. Everybody out there, keep supporting independent wrestling. Support OVW. Support wrestlers on Netflix. Hashtag wrestlers Netflix everything, guys. Let's try and get us a season 2.
All right, that's TW3. TW3, thank you again for your time.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.
A big thank you to TW3 for joining us on the episode once again. And that's basically going to do it for the episode. Real quick shout out, got to mention what I'll be doing here in the upcoming week, just because I can. I've got another high school football game coming up. That is tonight as this episode releases. You can check along with my social media pages as I get the link out to listen along. It'll be Southern Door hosting Sturgeon Bay in the WIAA regular season finale before the playoffs. And I'm sure we'll have playoff games as well. So, as mentioned, we will have more Packer talk, Brewer talk, Bucks talk next week. For Sean, Shauna, Justin, and Ramsey, I'm Eric, the Big E Fisher, signing off. Episode 130 is in the books. We're out. See ya.